Recording. Very good. And yeah, go ahead and roll it here. So, welcome to the behind the scenes commentary for our redstone gate in the sacrificial altar of the cows. So, I had this plan from the beginning. I wanted the sacrificial ceremony to involve punching the cows into the moat and then the water carrying them into the lava. So, I need an opening to punch them in, but I don't want them to be able to just walk in on their own, of course, because as we've seen, they will absolutely do that. So this mechanism here, at least the plan, is to have a gate that can open with the press of a lever. Okay, so I got the pistons in place there, and what we're going to do now is wire them to activate. So I'm running the wiring backwards from the piston to the lever, which I haven't even placed yet, but we'll see that in a minute. So little snag right here that I forget, of course, that piston's push blocks, so that gets pushed back out of place. So I got to fix this, redo it. Jumping in the water, that messed up the water, but we'll come back to that later. That turns out to be a bigger problem than I realized. Pretty simple redstone mechanism, like about as simple as it gets. Well, second level maybe, second of 11 levels, I would say off the top of my head. But doesn't mean it's easy. At least for someone who doesn't really think in redstone. I tend to get the things done that I need to get done, though, so I was thinking that this would be doable. Certainly not beyond my capabilities, but as you can see, we're running into our second snag here, which is that I placed a block wrong, and now all the cows are going up there and jumping in. Oh yeah, I moved all those blocks. They had a lot of space there. Okay. This is a staple of my cows, apparently, is that they just like to jump off the water. Get him back with wheat. Here he comes. Good, good, good. Okay. And breed them to make up for the ones that were lost. Alright, back here. So, we've got all those pistons where they need to be. They are currently activated by the redstone torches. One thing you notice right now that I actually don't think I noticed at this point was that that cow is stuck right there. He's not coming through, so that's going to be addressed in a little bit. Apparently I'm just thinking right now, though. Uh-oh. Okay, so I wanted to move, maybe I am addressing that issue. So what happened there is I wanted to move that redstone back one and activate the pistons from above instead of directly from the torch. So the redstone torch powers the block, and then the redstone that's on that block also becomes powered, so the signal's carried that way. And then there seems to be a moment of concern here that the babies can somehow get through the pistons. And I forget that I'm holding wheat in my hand, so they're all like running at me. I make that mistake quite a lot in this series, don't I? It's good to realize what you're holding in your hand. Okay, so we're about to run the wire here that will take us back to the lever. Just going to go with redstone dust. Running into that block. I think I'm just making sure it'll work here, but it will. This is good. This is a good wiring. Looks like I'm going to do a double stagger here. Just kidding, that means nothing. I just made that up. Now I'm just running a very basic redstone line. I think it would have been easier to use repeaters here because I could have just gone through the blocks. I could have carried the signal through the blocks instead of like all the way 2 blocks away and then with one going in like that. So the dust down, wait till I look at it here. The dust down below, it can't run right next to the piston or to the block you want to power because it has to actually like take 2 blocks to make a 90-degree turn. So that's just how it is. Did I place that lever? I was all excited to see me place the lever. I think I just missed it. I was talking about redstone. See how there's the main line, and then there's a block in that carries like it to the each specific block that's being powered. If I had repeaters, I could have just gone straight through the block, which would have been simpler, but I hadn't crafted any, and I don't exactly remember the recipe, so I just did it this way. Did I just test it there? Did I just miss the first test? I'm missing everything important. Is the lever up there? Oh, I might need to take that back. I might need to recut this. Still concerned there, looks like, about the water. I want to make sure the cows are actually going to be carried by that stream. If they're just going to get stuck on this piston here, it's going to be a problem. So I think it's this point where I realize I'm going to have to bump. Like the design I had was good, but I just have to bump everything on this right side, on the other side on this side of the water, 1 block further that way. So that's what we're doing now. Not a big deal, but kind of annoying because it's a lot of mining. I'm gonna mine out this whole wall in order to have the space. It's here that I realize I should have just used repeaters, but I'm stubborn, so I stuck with it, which meant I had to go that extra block away. Nice placement of the redstone there, right off the jump. Pretty athletic. There we go. Same as the other side. So you might recall previously I was waiting to do this gate until I had slimes because I wanted to make sticky pistons, but I don't know why I wanted sticky pistons so much. I don't need them because, like, I can make the gate with just the 4. You can maybe make it fancier with sticky pistons and like move blocks around to move the gate. You definitely could make it fancier, but I didn't really want anything particularly fancy anyways. I did want the aesthetic to generally match the sacrificial altar room, which it does well enough. Well enough that I didn't want to go through with all the other stuff to make it fancier. There we go. There's a positive test from the gate. And is the cow gonna get through on the water? Oh no, I haven't done that yet. I don't know what I was testing there. Just making sure the gate redstone still works probably. Looks good. Yeah, here we go. I'm making the canal 1 wider, which makes my room not symmetrical, but perfect is the enemy of good sometimes. Or at least that's true with me, so. It's not exactly a redstone thing, but that's a key point with this series is like I'm not particularly good at what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyways and making it good enough to allow myself to get better. So that's for like editing and gameplay and commentary. Like some of that stuff I'm okay at. Some of it I've never even done, and some of it I'm bad at, like talking. So I mentioned in the first episode that I wanted to make this series quite a while ago, but I think that was my issue, is that I was using things not being perfect as an excuse to not go through with them. Alright, so all of that was just water repair. I made it extra long in the video to reflect how long it actually took, which was much longer than what was left in the video. But I just had to dig out that canal deeper, wider, and then fix the water by placing and unplacing a whole bunch of blocks. So it took like half an hour, but it's not really that interesting. There we go. So officially, this is the first sacrifice. I mean, it's just a test of the setup, but given that it's the first fully successful full test, then we're going to call this the first sacrifice. Although it didn't do the normal rites. And just to demonstrate that that stuff made it to the chest. Very good. And the beef's cooked because they die in the fire. It sounded weird to say out loud, but I'm just explaining the mechanics. Just covering up that hole that I can't put blocks over because the redstone runs through it. Looks like we're calling that a success. And here's me on my way back, noticing that there are cows all over the place, including in my bunker. Here I am threatening the cows with death by fire, but I don't think I'm going to go through with it here, if I can remember right. It's just a threat. But if you keep watching the series, you will notice that those cows do not last much longer, unfortunately. They do serve useful, though. For now, we're moving on. See ya.